Jenkins is absent. Chavez.
Present.
Chugtai is absent. Chowdhury is absent. Palmisano.
Present.
Ellison.
Here.
Cherkowski.
Present.
There are 8 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. With that, we are going to continue on with our amendment packet. We're going to, not all the council members are here who have the ones that we put aside, so we're going to resume here with item number 35. So I'll ask Councilmember Chavez to please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Chair Koski. I'll keep it fairly brief. This is allocating $30,000 within the CPED department. This amendment will allow the CPED Small Business Development Team to work with community stakeholders and Latino businesses to develop and implement Minneapolis Latino Business Week in the fall of 2024.
Thank you, Councilmember. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
That item has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions from council members? Not seeing anything. And we have amendment number 35 offered by Councilmember Chavez before us. I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vitoff.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chowdhury is absent. Palmisano.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Cherkowski.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes.
Oh, that carries, that motion carries. And we are on to our next amendment, which is number 36. I will ask Councilmember Ellison to please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know we're all just kind of getting resettled back in, so I'm getting all my stuff in front of me here. So during the break, we were all able to have discussions specifically about this funding and how we're going to ensure that we have the ability to modify and improve our snow removal site. This amendment was originally pulling from that source, and I'm going to be pulling this amendment. I've done so. This was originally supposed to put more money into the Ownership and Opportunity Fund, which, as I expressed before, is improving the ability for communities of color to buy and own commercial property. I sort of, it's a young fund, obviously, but I view this fund as in the same spirit as what we have been able to accomplish with the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. I think it can have that kind of power as it grows and matures into the future. I was going to add to it here, and I'm going to pull this item and not move this forward as a way to be able to maintain money into the snow removal facility, and because I've been able to work with my colleagues who were going to source from the Ownership and Opportunity Fund, who are no longer going to be sourcing from the Ownership and Opportunity Fund. So I'm pulling item 36, and I've got one more amendment that I'll make later in our agenda here that will make us whole on the snow removal site and allow us to pass the rest of the items that are using that as a source.
Thank you, Councilmember Ellison, and appreciate your sincere collaboration on this. I know how important the Ownership and Opportunity Fund is to you, and so in the spirit of collaboration and working with all the needs across our city, I'm grateful for your partnership on that with everybody. So I know that took a lot for you to do that, so I'm very grateful. Okay, we will move on to number 37 here. And this is also authored by Councilmember Ellison. And so I'll let you introduce this amendment.
Yes, so item 37 is, we're adding funding to the Developers Technical Assistance Program. As you guys know, we have a number of BTAP programs. I think we had CTAP, we had ATAP, we had DTAP, and this really does allow our communities to have access to becoming community developers. And so I had some talking points here just to, with I think that there's sort of an informal relationship between this and the Ownership and Opportunity Fund as well, because a lot of the folks who utilize the Ownership and Opportunity Fund are first-time developers or small-time local neighborhood developers. So not only do they need the money in order to make acquisition and repairs to commercial property they're owning for potentially the first time, I think almost all of them the first time, they need technical assistance to help them make their way through the process, and all of that. And so there was no money allocated for DTAP. We're all making tough budgetary decisions, but I felt like it was an important enough program for us to have this year. And so I am using the snow storage money for this item, but again, with the removal of the previous item and with an amendment I'll be making later, we should be able to make snow removal whole and possible before the end of the day. So, and with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Ellison. I do want to make sure that I see this has been moved, but I'd like to just make sure we have a formal second on this.
Second.
All right. Are there any questions for Councilmember? I see Councilmember Vita.
I just wanted to quickly say thank you so much, Councilmember Ellison, for working this all out during our break. I'm happy to see that we've been made whole on the snow removal. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Osmond.
Yeah, I have a quick question. You say we didn't allocate any money for DTAP program. That means like DTAP program wouldn't be possible without?
We did allocate a small amount throughout the year that was made possible, I think, through some reallocation of ARPA, but it wasn't enough to make the program whole. And so this makes it so that we can actually have a fully fleshed out DTAP program for this year.
Okay.
And and my understanding, and I don't want to overstate this, but I don't think DTAP would be possible in 2024 without this allocation.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I know the program is very popular, and there's always a demand for community members to participate, and thank you so much for bringing this forward.
Thank you, Councilmember Osmond. Not seeing any further questions or comments, and we have item number 37 in front of us, and I will ask clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman is absent. Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai is absent. Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Cherkowski.
Aye.
There are 10 ayes.
That motion carries. And our next amendment is number 38 from Councilmember Vita. Please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Chair Koski. This amendment coming before you has, it is to increase, it's a one-time increase for $120,000 to the budget for the Arts and Cultural Affairs Department, and this is also going to come out of the public safety dollars. We have an amendment to the original motion, which is changing it to come out of the public safety dollars. The original source was going to be out of out of CPED, so we'll be changing that.
All right, thank you so much. Councilmember, let's see. Oh, I want to just make sure, this item has been moved, and do I have a second? Second.
I wanted to, so I in all of the commotion during the break, there was a lot to resolve, and I have a further substitute motion, but still should keep us in good standing, and I'll move it, and hopefully it is a friendly amendment to the author. My staff was able to check in with the city attorney's office, and while upstream, I think that I was making the argument that upstream solutions have a material impact on public safety. I think that it was the city attorney's opinion that the state funding was not an appropriate source for this. So with the decrease of the Open Streets funding, there were a few other sources that I wanted to propose that we use here.
Okay.
One was $75,000 from OPS, and then the other was 45,000 from Public Works, but not the snow removal fund. So it still equals 120,000, but from sources that I think are appropriate. And again, these were previously going to be used for the open streets funding, but with cutting that funding in half, it opened up some space for us to use these sources for this. So if that's a friendly enough amendment to the author, happy to move that. And sorry that one of the balls that got dropped during the break.
Do we know what is being taken out of OPS? Not the dollar amount, but what that would, what we get.
With so many things moving, I don't have a super clear answer right off the top of my mind, just because these were a lot of fast moving conversations. But I know that, yeah,
Okay.
that's my.
I just want to be clear, Councilmember Vita, you just did a friendly amendment, or we have a new motion on the table? I'm not sure what we,
Friendly amendment.
okay, friendly amendment here. Clerks, do you understand the friendly amendment?
Madam Chair, then my understanding would be that we're looking at Councilmember Ellison's motion then as the motion before the body. So-
Correct. Okay. All right. So we have Councilmember Ellison's motion in front of us. Do I have a second? Second. Great. Any questions? Oh, I see our city attorney is in queue.
Chair Koski, council members, just to be completely clear, so whatever the amendment is on the table is not using the public safety aid for arts and cultural affairs, correct?
That is correct.
I'm just really confused about which amendment we're talking about.
It's a substitute motion on item 38.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for clarifying that. All right. So we have amendment number 38 offered by Councilmember Ellison before us. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Sorry. Are we in, did we just call for Councilmember?
Chugtai.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Thank you. Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chair Koski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. Okay. We do have a couple amendments to go back to, and so I'm going to ask that we go back to item number 32, which is from Chugtai and Chowdhury over our animal care and control staff, so I'll ask them to please speak to your amendment.
Chair Koski, we're still waiting on our revised motion to be brought to the dais, but I know that it's going to be brought here in just a moment. So if you're amenable, is it all right if I just read it out? I think it's being handed to you
Yep, go ahead,
now.
please read it loud. I see they're coming through right now.
Wonderful. This is a revised motion with authors Chugtai, Chowdhury, and Goodman, amending the 2024 mayor's recommended budget in the general fund to decrease the budget for the Finance and Property Services Department Controller by $101,500 ongoing for 1 FTE, and increase the budget for the Regulatory Services Department, Minneapolis Animal Care and Control by $101,500 ongoing for 1 FTE as a customer service representative to allow MAC to extend operations to 6 days a week. So I want to just take a second to thank Councilmember Chugtai, Goodman, and Director Velasquez for getting together during our lunch break to discuss this important amendment. We all very deeply care about the future of Minneapolis Animal Care and Control, doing this critical service for Minneapolis residents and the animals in our community. I expressed in our meeting, I had heard from residents who volunteered at the animal shelter, members of the advisory board, the deep need there is to have systems in place to meet the demands of the number of animals that we are getting into our system, especially due to the growth of the housing crisis post-pandemic that has displaced people and their animals. A big part of making this possible is ensuring our shelter can add and maintain those Saturday operation hours, permitting And this position for the customer service rep allows us and permits us to extend those operation hours to 6 days per week, which will result in an increase in adoption hours and opportunities for owners to pick up pets. Again, we need to look at the bigger picture for a sustainable system, and our regulatory services director indicated to me as we were deciding on making this revised motion that they're actively working on evaluating that system to maintain no-kill status. And the system that we're delivering on through this budget alongside what has been proposed by the mayor would give us 2 additional FTEs for animal care technicians, this FTE for customer service representative. Few weeks ago, we passed eliminating fees for Minneapolis residents for adoption and reducing the fee for residents in the metro. And we know every time we have events where adoption fees are dropped, animals are adopted very quickly. And we are going to be launching that on January 1st. And so we have yet to see how that changes our system in a really positive way. And we are also adding a $125,000 grant-funded position that's coming for volunteer coordination and a grant-funded position for foster care coordinator as well. And so I'm glad that we were able to work out a really good amendment that is going to support animal care and control. And I'll finally just say that in our break, Councilmember Chugtai, Ellison, and I made a commitment to Councilmember Goodman, and also I'll say Councilmember Johnson, who both have been champions for animal care and control, that we would continue to carry on that mantle.
Thank you, Councilmember Chowdhury. This item has been moved and seconded, and I see Councilmember Chugtai is in queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think Councilmember Chowdhury did a really excellent job of explaining the amendment itself and why we got to the number we did. But the piece I want to talk about is it was really important to me and Councilmember Goodman and Councilmember Chowdhury for the 3 of us to work together on figuring out exactly how to fill the need in animal care and control, and exactly how to make sure that we were expanding hours of operation of the shelter. We were expanding access for residents to be able to adopt animals, and that the barriers to that, as many of them as we could, were reduced. You will see in this amendment that instead of taking 2 positions out of finance, we brought that number down, or finance and controller, we brought that number down to 1 position. And we focused that 1 position that's coming in to expanding hours of operation to Saturday operation or 6-day operations for the animal shelter. I'm really glad that we were all able to work together on doing that, but it is so important. We found a way to compromise. We found a way to make sure everybody got what they needed. It is really important now that the 1 position that went back to finance stay in finance. I know that we're all rushing to find appropriate sources to fill our different gaps that may have come up, but please, this was important to Councilmember Goodman. I made a commitment that I would make sure to say it was important to me as the author who's giving an ongoing position back. Let's let that position stay in finance. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman.
I'm really happy to be able to support the leadership of 2 young women on the city council who are trying to find their way in a process that's very complex. At the same time that we can take 2 departments that are important, finance and property services and regulatory services, and make sure that they are not losing their staff as well. But really, my motivation is how much I love animals and the work of animal care and control. I will note that when I started on the city council, we had a live release rate of about 68%. We did not allow bully breeds to be adopted. We did not do any kind of health or training. We just decided those animals were disposable. And over a long period of time, we moved into a more humane model. And that's where we're trying to set ourselves up for the future. And I know that Councilmember Chowdhury and Shugtai understand that. And Councilmember Ellison really understands the importance of not identifying some animals as adoptable and others as not. This change is important to me because it gives us another day of operations. So instead of operating only 5 days a week, we'll be able to operate 6 days a week. I think if we're going to make animals available, we have to make them available on the days that people are available in order to work with animals. And I'll note that this council worked with me during the fee discussion in committee to drop fees for Minneapolis residents to adopt animals to zero, and to have people in the metro area have a lower fee. So it remains to be seen. Will we get more animals out the door? And will we lose funding as a result of not selling the animals? So we'll all lean in on the work of Mr. Velasquez going forward and his team to figure out, how does this shake out? What are the impacts? We could have a big request next year because we might lose a lot of revenue from the animals that we're giving away, but we want to keep the no-kill rate. So I just am really happy to be able to put my name on the only amendment I'm on in this entire process, at least right now. Might be I'm putting money back into snow too. And thank these young women for figuring out how to get a little bit of a win-win for everyone.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman. Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I feel like that's perfectly fitting for Councilmember Goodman's last budget for this to be you be an author on this, and this is just another pitch for our oversight and evaluation function so that we can make sure that this is working really effectively as we move forward.
Thank you. We're getting to that one, Elliot. Here we go. All right, let's see here. We are now going to move on to item number 33. This is Councilmember Chavez. Oh, you guys. I'm sorry, you know.
We're excited.
Maybe I should just stand up and do a little. Okay.
Everybody's getting loose.
Hold on. Okay, so we have item number 32 in front of us. And this is from Councilor Chugtai, Chowdhury, and Goodman. And I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez. Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chairkoski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. Okay, our next amendment is number 33. And I'm going to ask Councilmember Chavez to please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Chair Koski. This is back to the George Floyd Square Youth and Adult Job Training and the Development Project near George Floyd Square. There is an amendment by my colleague, Councilor Ellison, and I will also move that. And in the spirit of collaboration, I am accepting the reduction in this, and Councilor Ellison can talk to it too.
Thank you, Councilmember Chavez. Councilmember Ellison, he is calling on you to now speak to this.
Yes. And so, yes, I believe we've reached a good place to make sure that we have enough money for our snow storage site. And so while this still is listing the snow storage site as a use, it's a lesser amount. And I really want to thank Councilmember Chavez on speaking with me and helping me understand, where there was some room to give here. And so the amount will be $150, and then again, I have a later amendment that'll come before council that will, with me pulling item 36, and then with bringing the later amendment, that should leave enough for us to execute everything that we need to in order to have a viable snow storage site. And so I think everybody should have the amendment, the substitute motion in front of them, or the motion as amended. However we want to do it.
Thank you, Councilmember Ellison. All right, this item has been moved. I just want to make sure I have a second on this one. Okay. Are there any further questions? Not seeing any. So we have item number 33 in front of us, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chairkoski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. We have officially flipped the page. And so we are now on item number 39, and I will call on Councilmember Wansley to speak to this amendment.
Thank you, Chair Koski. So item 39 is the Witch's Hat maintenance. Many of you are aware that the Witch's Hat is a historic building located in Prospect Park that has been a popular tourist attraction for both residents in my ward, but for residents living, across the city as a whole. It has not been open since 2019, and since I entered into City Hall, my office has been repeatedly contacted by residents asking when can we reopen and if there's a way to expand beyond the traditional just once a year opening. So in the past year, my office has worked very closely with the staff as well as our park board reps to figure out who owns, the property. There was lots of confusion around that, but we eventually gained clarity that the city owns this building. And after gaining clarity about that, my office worked with Property Service to understand what was needed to reopen the building. Our staff then conducted a property analysis, which came back with the result that in order to repair the building and to be able to open up more seasonally or have expanded hours for reopenings, it would cost about $350,000. So that's what this amendment reflects. It would be allocated to property service maintenance and repair, specifically that fund to cover the maintenance and repairs that needs to happen at this site. The funds are being drawn from Public Works contractual services at the discretion of the department for that specific fund. Long term, we are aware that this building will require significant renovations to get it up to ADA compliance. That renovation, based off of that property analysis, the cost of that will be over $1 million. So we are planning to work with our staff to go through the appropriate capital long range improvement committee process. But up until then, we are fully able and legally within the bounds to do maintenance on a site that we own. We're excited to work with Property Services and our residents to explore also historic preservation grants that may help us also be able to do a full renovation of this site. But in the short term, again, this amendment allows us to do the repairs needed. Also, my office is working with both our staff, city attorney specifically, in getting a MOU drafted between the city and the Parks Department so that going forward, there's a clear and standardized agreement between us around how we're going to have shared oversight and ownership and management of this building, and basically, make sure we're not in an unclear position before or again. So I'm super excited to move this amendment. I think everyone recognizes this building is very special. It's considered to be one of the top attractions for the city of Minneapolis, and every time it's been open, thousands, no less than 4,000 people have come to experience the unique view of this structure, and it just represents such a historic importance to our city. And openings have largely been staffed by volunteers, people who literally go out and use their spare time to also make sure residents get to experience this historic landmark. So this is the opportunity to ensure that, we not only activate this historic asset, but also continue stewarding it for future generations to come. So with that, I will move this motion and also answer any questions if my colleagues have any.
Thank you, Councilmember Wansley. Is there a second to this motion? I hear the second, and I will open it up for any questions or comments. And Councilmember Rainville.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I thank you, Councilmember Wansley, for doing the hard work to find out who owns this beautiful, wonderful building. And once anyone has been to the top of that and seen the view of the River Gorge and the University of Minnesota campus, you realize how special that is. If we own it, we should keep it repaired.
Thank you, Councilmember. Not seeing any further questions, we have amendment number 39 before us by Councilmember Wansley, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Lita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman is absent. Jenkins, is absent. Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chair Koski.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That motion carries. Our next amendment is item number 40. This is from myself, and I'll introduce that. This proposal will fund a constituent service representative in the city clerk's office. The constituent services representative will be part of the new outreach and constituent services division, responsible for planning, organizing, managing, and supporting a variety of outreach, education, engagement, and communications programs and initiatives in support of both the city council as well as the legislative department. The constituent services representative will support city council and the legislative department in increasing access, trust, transparency, and operational efficiency by creating and coordinating constituent services processes, as well as providing assistance with research and follow-up on communications with the public. We currently have 2 temporary full-time city staff who have taken on the role and responsibilities of the constituent services representatives. The mayor's recommended 2024 budget added 1 permanent FTE. This proposal would add an additional permanent FTE for constituent services representative, which would allow to transition both temporary full-time city staff to full-fledged permanent FTEs with salaries and benefits. I ask my colleagues to vote in support of this proposal. I'll ask if there's a second.
Second.
That item has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? Not seeing any. We have amendment number 40 in front of us by myself, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman is absent. Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chirkowski.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That motion carries. Our next amendment is item number 41, and I will ask Councilmember Payne to please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This item originally started as a move of 4 FTEs from PMI into setting up our oversight and evaluation department. I have been pitching that capability for almost every budget item, it feels like, but one of the other sources for PMI was the domestic violence navigators, and through Councilmember Chugtai's leadership, she worked really closely with the administration to make sure that PMI was fully staffed, to make sure that as we're going forward implementing the Safe and Thriving Communities Plan, that there wasn't any risk there. I was very confident in making these moves and making sure that we had the staff available in PMI to establish that foundational work around performance management. We're also staffing up in neighborhood safety, and so we are going to have a lot more capacity when it comes to our alternative responses and innovation work around safety and the Safe and Thriving Communities report. But the mayor felt very, very strongly that this team needed to be fully staffed on day one. So we worked very closely with his office and Councilmember Chugtai to backfill these PMI roles. So what you see before you is essentially making sure that we still have the deputy as an ongoing role in PMI, because that individual is going to be overseeing more than just the Safe and Thriving Communities report. And then a huge component of the workload of PMI this year is supposed to be the Safe and Thriving Communities report. And so we are restoring five FTEs by way of one-time safety funding. So starting in 2024, PMI will be fully staffed, and I'm making a personal commitment that we will make sure that that is fully staffed in an ongoing way going forward for next budget cycles.
Thank you, Councilmember. That item has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? I see we have Councilmember Wansley in queue.
Thank you, Chair Koski. Again, thankful to my co-author, Councilmember Payne, as well as Councilmember Chugtai, in working together with our staff on this amendment. I've also spoken a lot about the need to invest in our legislative department, especially after undergoing our government restructure process, where this council prioritized investments in ensuring that the mayor and his administration was set up for success. We approved several positions immediately and continuously throughout the term to make sure that we were responsive to the needs of the executive side. And I think this year we all celebrate the fact that it was time for the legislative side. It would be the year of the legislative side. And this budget amendment finally addresses that and to that need, especially it addresses a growing concern and experience that several of us have had of this bottleneck that happens when we're trying to do our work, and that then results in delays in that work because we don't have the capacity on our side to be able to deliver in the fullest functions of our authority. So this investment, at least going into next year, will significantly enhance our ability to deliver on a legislative agenda that is going to be responsive to the needs of working class people in our city. And we will be able to have additional resources at our disposal instead of just having to rely solely on executive staff. And I'm really, really excited about that. And again, just thank you to my co-authors for your leadership in making sure that we are seriously investing in the legislative side of our government so that we can also do the work we need to do to serve our residents across the city. So that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Council Vice President Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple questions. The first is more for the authors, because in the previous revised motion, it was 4 FTEs, and now it seems like we've moved it to 5. So I'm just curious what the rationale was in that, and maybe it pulls from a future amendment and smashes those two together. We were having some earlier conversation about this on the dais. The second one is I would really like to hear from our auditor, who I work very closely with, about what these 5 new positions will be doing, because clearly this is something that our auditor's team is then ready to build out pretty quickly, and I'd like to know how we're going to do that and then work with PMI. I saw you walk in together. I know you're well coordinated, but I'd like to hear more.
Thank you. I'll have Councilmember Payne answer your first question, if that's all right.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. I was only seeking 4, and I was reducing the total headcount for PMI by 4. And then the 5th was the program manager to become a domestic violence navigator. Councilmember Chugtai very graciously returned that program navigator back to PMI, but that's how it adds up to 5. It's through both the return plus the 4 that I was taking, and very graciously offered to restore the full 5 instead of just the 4. Because had Councilmember Chugtai not made that offer, my amendment would have still been to move 4 out of PMI and not restore the total headcount.
Thank you. Councilmember Chugtai, I think you wanted to answer to that too? Okay.
Yep. So combined, it was Councilmember Payne's intention to take 5 positions out of PMI. When we first started talking about this budget amendment, it was his intention to take 5 positions out of PMI and use them for this amendment that's in front of you. Councilmember Koski and I were able to then work with Councilmember Payne and figure out a way for us to take one of the 5 he was taking and take it for our amendment. And so he, compromised with us and went from 5 down to 4. And then we were able to last night work with the mayor, last night and this morning work with the mayor on finding a source for the domestic violence navigators that is more appropriate, that works for everyone. And so we were just, at the end of the day, if all amendments that are still left in front of us pass, the amount that we were planning on taking out of PMI stays the same. But the other thing we did is for Councilmember Koski and I in our amendment, we were taking what was effectively the deputy director position in PMI out. We were taking a program manager position out, and what we were able to work out over the break earlier this afternoon was to make sure that we were taking a all of the positions that are still, that we are taking out of PMI and backfilling with one-time public safety aid, which was not our intention in the beginning, but is something that I think makes sure everybody still continues to get what they need in this next budget. All of those positions can still be fulfilled, all of the positions that are still left in PMI. I apologize, I'm misspeaking. All of the positions that we are taking out of PMI and backfilling with public safety aid are actually eligible for public safety aid. That's the point I'm trying to make. I apologize. And then to the point about what is Audit going to use this money for? I know you asked the question of the auditor, but want to be clear, if you look at the mayor's recommended budget, there are 3 positions right now within the Policy and Research Division, and there are no positions right now within the Oversight and Evaluation position. So we are doing 2 things with this amendment that's in front of you right now. One, we are making sure that both of those divisions actually have division directors, as that's what's in the ordinance. The ordinance that we passed unanimously here guarantees or says that both divisions are led by a division director. So we're actually funding those positions. And then the analyst positions can actually go into the Oversight and Evaluation Division, which currently has no staff, meaning there is no tool that we have here formally to do oversight and evaluation work through the legislative department right now. We are correcting that in this amendment and actually making sure that we have oversight staff to help us carry out a core function of our job.
Thank you, Councilmember Chugtai. You were answering a question from Council Vice President. Do you have any follow-up questions?
Yeah, I'd like to still hear from the auditor, if possible, about his ability to assume these 5 positions. And also, I see that in a later amendment number is when we do the amendment for the planning to come up with the scope of service amongst the auditor's 3 divisions. So it just seems more appropriate to me if we were to perhaps develop that scope of service first, maybe in 2024, and then in the next biennial budget year, start to resource these positions. But I'd like to hear from our auditor about his plans.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair Koski and council members. The plans associated with this essentially look at the 5-year plan that we have described consistently with the clerk and our growth in the legislative department, and it shifts some of what would have been year 2 growth for this group into a more compressed fashion. So those positions, the leadership positions along with the analyst positions, as you can see in the policy and research group, you've been getting a lot of work back from them. So the demand there is great, and this, again, would help add resources to that group so they can continue to churn out more work there while also creating and establishing the Oversight and Evaluation Division. So at the beginning of this year, we were able to hire the folks who are now churning out the policy and research work by the end of the year. We're looking at the same process for the Oversight and Evaluation work in the year to come.
So then that's 2 directors, 2 analysts for oversight and evaluation, and 1 more.
Yes, the policy and research group would get additional resources. That's the plan. So in the mayor's proposed budget, there were 2 oversight and evaluation positions. This adds additional, so that would bring capacity up for both of those groups to equivalent levels.
Excuse me, actually, I now remember that. So the mayor put 2 positions into the auditor's department for the purpose of oversight and evaluation, and this adds 5 more.
Yeah, there would be the leadership, from what I understand, and I would actually defer to the authors of it to speak more specifically. From what I understand, this would be leadership positions plus additional analysts to support that work.
So we would be ultimately adding 7 positions to the auditor's office for next year?
For the total budget, because the mayor recommended 2, and we're adding 5 more, yes, the total would be 7.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
May
Councilmember
I
Vita.
speak to that?
Oh,
We're adding budget dollars so that we can actually classify 2 directors. So some of those FTE counts will be condensed because of the pay schedule for directors.
Thank you for that clarification. Councilmember Vita.
Thank you, Chair Koski. I'm just extremely confused during this conversation. So just want to ask, are the positions staying in PMI?
Councilor Chugtai, I'll ask, you can answer that. Yes, please.
The permanent positions are no longer staying in PMI. What we are doing, though, is giving PMI public safety aid to be able to carry out this work. So we heard yesterday from you all, from the administration. So we're giving them one-time public safety aid, so they will be able to hire during the year next year all of the positions we took.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have amendment number 41 in front of us, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
No.
Chair Koski.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes and 1 nay.
That motion carries. Our next amendment is item number 42. And I will ask Councilmember Chugtai to please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair, colleagues. This motion is the language access resource pilot, which is taking $50,000 and putting them in the, I apologize, I'm just pulling it up in front of me. I am so sorry. Thank you. It's putting $50,000 worth of resources into the clerk's office. We're taking them from the police department out of we took it all the way from the top. We had a conversation with the chief, and we're using an appropriate source that isn't affecting service, isn't affecting staffing. That was important. The purpose of this amendment is to make sure that in the clerk's office, we have a dedicated resource for all council members to be able to access, for us to have translation and interpretation services that we can all access. Currently, those of us who have ever had a written item translated by the clerk's office or by the neighborhood and community relations department, or have had interpreters come to public events, we know that we have to spend money out of our ward budgets in order to be able to use that service from the city. We have to spend our own ward budget money to have an interpreter or translation services. So this amount of money is what it would take for all 13 offices to be able to use one centralized resource to get those translation and interpretation services equally, and excited to see how we can learn from this and make sure that we are all increasing access in the communication that we are doing, whether it's through our newsletters or at our public events. Thank you. With that, I'll move this item for approval.
Thank you, Councilmember. This item has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions from council members? Not seeing any. We have amendment number 42 in front of us, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chair Koski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. Our next amendment is also from Councilmember Chugtai. Please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This motion decreases the the budget of the communications department by $137,949 for one ongoing FTE to increase the budget of the city council clerk's office by that same amount for one FTE. This position, you may remember when the communications department presented their recommended budget, they had plans of hiring an interagency coordinator within their department, an admirable thing that they wanted to do to increase, to have an easier time communicating with one another. The purpose of this is, under the new government structure, the entirety of the communications department is no longer, they don't do work for us, and we don't give them direction. We're not allowed to, actually. That's us violating our boundaries by directing the communications department to do things. I know that in addition to that, within individual departments, individual offices, within the administration, along with the mayor's office itself too, there are additional communication staff sprinkled in within the administration. And so it means that the city council is sort of the only part of our city enterprise that doesn't really have dedicated communication staff. And in the conversations I've had with some of you about this amendment, as I was thinking about moving this money, what I heard from each of you was that you had a need for this resource just like I do. Our body has a need for this resource. And we got to start somewhere. This is a position that's brand new and hasn't been hired yet. So that's what we're trying to do here, and I will move this item for approval and answer any questions colleagues may have.
Thank you, Councilmember. This item has been moved and seconded, and I see Councilmember Chowdhury is in queue.
Thank you, Chair Koski. I just wanted to add a little bit more context of why this is going to be such a helpful staff for our council office to serve the people of Minneapolis well. I have worked as an aide to now 2 versions of the city council, and it is consistent between both times where a lot has changed, where there are council aides that are scrambling to figure out how to get a communications plan out to their council member, and council members are trying to figure out, we did this really great big thing, perhaps like a budget, how they're going to communicate it out, and having a communication staff member that our aides can rely on and work with. The other parts of our enterprise will help us better communicate with residents what we're doing, and also get better feedback on the things that we've passed. So I'm really excited to support this amendment. I also think our council aides who are working in the background right now will also be very grateful to have this tool, in addition to doing the really important job of constituent services that they do for us and with us, for the people.
Thank you. We have this amendment offered by Councilmember Chugtai and Chowdhury before us, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chair Koski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. Our next amendment is item number 44. This is also from Councilmember Chugtai. I'll ask you to please introduce it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment is for the audit contractual services, and the resources listed here, and I think I'll ask Council Member Wansley, who is co-authoring this amendment as well, to speak to it a little bit, because there were some, resources that we moved around to make it all work in the end. But the purpose of this money is to develop to bring in. It's to further develop the oversight and evaluation, the policy and research, and the city audit functions and how they work together, how they are taking on unique bodies of work, so that are developing better tools for us to do our oversight work with. You might remember last year in our budget, we set aside some contract money, just like what we're doing here for the audit department, and they were able to bring in a financial consultant this year to help council and council members dig into the budget more and understand it better, answer specific questions, and do that in do that so that we are not continuing to stretch our budget director in the chaos of the end of budget season. I think that was a really good and useful resource, and that's the intent with further investing in our audit department. I wonder if Councilmember Wansley perhaps wants to speak on this as well.
Yep.
Sounds good. Councilmember Wansley.
So just a quick thing around the funding sources. So there's additional allocation that my office included in this in partnership with Councilmember Chugtai for $105,000. This comes from the remaining dollars that we saved on the Open Streets amendment, whereas, as I noted earlier, that amendment was originally slated for, I believe, $575,000. We had the goal of not doing 5 events, but 10 events, but landed on 5. So we had it was 500,000. So we had a little over $200,000 left over from that amendment that we felt, we should absolutely redirect to our legislative department. This one being one of those priorities to fund the continuation of our professional service line item in that department. So that's where those dollars come from. And yeah, hope my colleagues can support this item.
Thank you, Councilmember Wansley. This item has been moved and seconded, and I see we have Councilmember Goodman in queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Isn't this metamorphosis training a big deal? I mean, I feel like what we're saying is all of the people who are going through that executive training, they don't matter. So I'm interested in hearing about this, because when I read evaluations, I thought that, maybe it's not and I know nothing. But I'm just curious. I'm not questioning the Public Works funding, but it seems like this is a training for like people at very high levels, and we're just like pulling out from under them a training opportunity. Maybe someone who knows something about this more than me could speak to it.
I will let Councilmember Chugtai answer that. And
Okay,
see if
cool.
there's somebody that she has. I know that you've been working with leadership, and you can ask somebody to come up to speak if you'd like as well.
I'm going to continue honoring not bringing directors up to defend their budget. If that's something, if my answer is not sufficient, you are very welcome to do that. So what the intent for me here is the metamorphosis training is something that's been in the works for a while, and what it's supposed to be training for the leadership team at our city, and by that it means, like I believe the mayor has been through metamorphosis, and along with that, members of his cabinet, and the like senior members in the administration, essentially, along with department directors, and of course we haven't really had much to do with the metamorphosis training. We've heard about it a little bit here and there, and Councilmember Goodman, you and I have heard about it pretty extensively, or a little bit more, perhaps, maybe not extensively is incorrect, but in our work on the city's the Labor Management Committee, the LMC. And so what my understanding from talking to our HR director a little bit more is the purpose of this is, some collaboration between department directors and being in the same shared space, but its purpose is teaching directors shared language around anti-racism. And so think about that one more time, right? Like, I'm not saying it's shared language around anti-racism, shared tool or shared understanding language around anti-racism work. And I think that is admirable. I think it is important for us to learn more and skill up around anti-racism. It is, I'm not denying that. What I am saying though is that there's one person who works in the Race, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging Department whose job is creating training criteria for the rest of our 4,000 employees in the city on anti-racism work, right? And anti-racism training and actually figuring out how that fits into onboarding. And I think if one staff member is tasked with figuring all of that out for all of our employees, to me, the justification of $150,000, which is far more than what that employee's FTE count or FTE cost is at, just to train senior level people within the administration, again, not denying that it's not important, not denying that it is important, it is, but the cost there and the value there, to me, like it just didn't, the scales, it didn't tip the scales for me, and other people might have different opinions, and that is okay, but that's why I thought it was an appropriate source.
Is that the full amount of money for the training? Because here's the thing, we, or some of us, were super critical of the COO for not having this kind of important training, and now it seems like we're taking the money away and saying, you don't really need this higher level training, but everybody else does. I feel like it sends the opposite message as the message we had sent the COO before about the importance of this. So we basically said, through all sorts of ways and all sorts of people, you're not doing a good enough job on training people on DEIS, so then they go and do something, and now we're saying, well, we want the money for something else. This makes me feel really uncomfortable, and to the extent that I was responsible for saying you should do this training, now we're basically pulling the rug out from under them. I'm not comfortable with that.
So this is the, there have been multiple cohorts of metamorphosis so far, right? And we have had like some directors, officials within the administration go through the training. And yeah, I do think the training is important, but this money and this contract was in place when we were saying we need to invest more in anti-racism work. So this wasn't a brand new thing that came up after we said that to our COO. This was in the works back then too. And again, I really understand the conclusion you're coming to. I don't disagree with it. Not a lot of good sources, just
Fair
pick
enough.
the one that I thought was okay enough.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Chowdhury.
Yeah, I hear you on the concern around anti-racism training, and I kind of brought this up to Councilmember Chugtai too. We had a discussion about it, and I think the thing to highlight here is that we should have a discussion about and figure out is what she brought up around our race equity department and its role in our enterprise. There is a person there that is tasked with creating this training and giving it out to staff members. And I think it is a valuable conversation for us to have, to recognize that we have that tool within our enterprise that is going to give this training to our workforce, and it might be worthwhile to have that same training available to the leadership, so we're all on the same page. And I think having the same language and context when it comes to anti-racism, in my practice around it, is very useful for us to be cohesive in that goal. And it's a really important goal to me, especially being the first person of color to represent my ward. I don't take it lightly. So that I would love to hear a little bit more if that makes us think that, hey, maybe we should consider our anti-racism training coming from within, and we would be okay with figuring that out. I think this is a really good amendment, and it's going to support some really important work. So our legislative side works well with the administrative side to get this job done for our city to achieve our goals.
Thank you, Councilmember. Council Vice President.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I saw Director Anderson Kelleher walk into the room for the purpose of speaking to this amendment, so I just wanted to
offer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam
Director.
Chair and council members. I want to just say that the discussion you're having is very important. I've been through metamorphosis training, but I have to point out in my role as Public Works Director where this money is coming from. And I really appreciate that Councilmember Wansley worked with us on the Open Streets Amendment and had totally reduced the amount of money being taken out of transportation planning and programming. But you do need to know that that entire budget for transportation planning and programming for contracting is $200,000. This takes half of that. The two things that that contract is used for is implementing the racial equity framework for transportation and the mode shift campaign as you go. And so either we do half of the amount of work next year on both of those things, or we don't do any work on one of those things. It's a very small division in Public Works. Taking this money harms that division in being able to do two of the most important things this council has put into policy: mode shift and racial equity in transportation. So unfortunately, this is putting you in a very difficult decision. And I just want to point out what the consequences are from the standpoint, we don't have money to move in Public Works in this way. This is a difficult one. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I see Councilmember Goodman.
Thanks. I've spent a good amount of time as the biz chair working with Saray, and I see she's here, and I'm wondering if she could speak to this, because there was a ginormous culture shift surrounding the issues of race and equity in the Regulatory Services Department that she led. And so perhaps she has something to say and is comfortable saying it, and she can shake her head, no, I'm not, if I'm not. I'm not demanding you come up and explain anything to me, but you did work wonders there, and so I'm just wondering how this fits in.
Deputy UC, hands were up. She said, I'm coming up, so.
Chair Koski, Councilmember Goodman, and council members. Every decision that we make is challenging, and it comes at a cost. And we are right now, I think, at the precipice or at a turning point when we talk about what we want for our organization, what we want for our employees. Oftentimes, I've heard many of you say that the culture here at the city of Minneapolis is horrible. It's racist. And what I found is sometimes your experience, depending upon your department, is extremely different, because we don't have consistent ways of talking about racism, systemic racism, processes and procedures. And your success is only as good as the person you work for. And then we perpetuate harm to our residents, because oftentimes some of our leaders don't know what we want from our leaders. So in Reg Services, they were leading before me, but I took it to another level. And we engaged our staff, who, may I say, did not get paid for this extra work. They did it on their own time. So as we've come along and our ERGs have come along, we have noticed if we are going to be one enterprise, we need to put some of the foundational work up front. What does that mean? I've heard council members say, yes, we want REIB to do the work. I agree with you, but we're at the foundation building point, and Good Works and the Metamorphosis program is setting up standards, expectations for our department heads, our directors, because we're now in a second cohort. We're talking about what does it mean to trust each other. We will not do any work if we do not trust each other, our colleagues and you. So this program is not ongoing. This program is a springboard to engage REIB, to engage and lead. Prince has worked with Good Works, to engage HR, because guess what? It takes all of our internal services to move this work forward. So this is not something that is long-term. This is something that we have to invest with now. And the goal is to transfer that knowledge internally. So we own it and we lead it. But I'm going to tell you right now, because I'm passionate about the work, the first cohort, which I am part of, the design team, part of the design team. That first cohort, that support from GoodWorks wasn't followed, we didn't have that second phase. I took on a session and led it myself. I was exhausted, and quite frankly, I was really upset that I, on top of all the work that I had to do, had to come in and lead my colleagues on building trust, and I couldn't participate in those activities. So what we're doing with GoodWorks, what we have to do for this organization, if we want to be the organization that is truly taking care of ourselves, our colleagues, our staff, and our residents, when we are in community, this work has to be done because we're all on different spectrums. And we have to start somewhere as an organization together. So the goal, as Director Corbett gets into his role, is to work with GoodWorks and eventually bring this in, so we don't have to have alternative contractors doing this work. Any questions?
No, I think I appreciate your strength, and I will just continue on with other questions that we have here, but appreciate that you're here. Let's see here. Councilor Goodman, did you have a follow-up or anything?
No.
Okay, all right. Just want to make sure. Okay.
Very clear, we have 90 leaders in our second cohort, 90.
Thank you.
That's a big deal.
Thank you. All right. Okay, Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Chair Koski. I just wanted to offer clarification. I don't know if Director Mack had received a revised version of our motion, but we had actually changed the public works source to reflect contractual service dollars. So I don't know if that's what you're if that is the same one that you're referring to. More than happy to change that to public works. And again, like other amendments, we can, defer to you to choose the source. But as of now, I thought that was reflective of that. So I just wanted to make sure you had the revised version. If not, we can bring a revised version that has.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, there's a lot of discussion around that, so I'm just gonna propose we just put this aside and we continue moving forward. I can see a lot of movement.
No. Chair Koski, Clerk Carl just confirmed exactly what I just highlighted. The revised motion does allow you to defer which fund you would like to choose. General, yes. So I just want to offer that clarification.
Okay, all right, I will hold a moment here. Clerk Carl has a new motion, same issue. All right, so Councilmember Wansley, do you mind just reading the revised motion so we have just a clear understanding for everybody exactly where the funding is coming out of?
Yes. So the revised motion, one is a concession in terms of Metamorphosis that removes that as a funding source. So the 150,000 one-time line item, that's now removed. What is reflected here is amending the 2024 mayor's recommended budget in the general fund to decrease the budget for the Public Works Department by $105,000 and increase the budget for the Office of City Auditor by $105,000 ongoing to develop scope of service among the office's 3 divisions and ongoing needs related to supporting the city council. So as I mentioned, the fund that Clerk Carl just affirmed in this revised motion allows Public Works, as we've done with other amendments, to choose which source. So it does not have to take from As You Go or the programs that Director Mack mentioned. They get to choose the source.
Thank you, appreciate that. We don't tend to like to push our staff and our colleagues against one another, but I appreciate coming to this consensus quickly. I see the director is nodding her head that this works as well, but I also want to call on Councilmember Vita as well.
Thank you. I just want to ask a clarifying question because it's my understanding that there's staff already in this training. So does this allow for us to have staff complete the training they're in right now? There's like 100 staff in the training.
Just to clarify, the new motion that was just read does
Oh,
not.
keeps it. Okay.
Yes, yep, keeps all of that. So
All
that
right,
will,
thank
that will
you.
stay whole. So, all right, so we have this new revised motion of number 44 by Chugtai and Wansley in front of us, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
No.
Vita.
No.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
No.
Chairs.
Aye.
There are 9 ayes and 3 nays.
That motion carries. Our next amendment is item number 45, and I will ask Councilmember Ellison to please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 45 adds some capacity, staff capacity, to the offices of council leadership. I've got a number of talking points up here that I think make a good governance case for why these positions are needed. But I also, in my lived experience, I think that we demand a lot of our council leadership, and we still have to do our ward work. We still have to do the work where we are. And I've seen a number of council presidents in the past and council vice presidents in the past have either their obligations to the council suffer or have their responsibilities to their ward suffer as a result of lack of capacity because you are spread so thin. And so I think that there's a really good case for why these positions would not only support the council leadership, but the council as a whole. And that's really my goal here. I think I've heard from the clerks, our infinitely wise clerk, some caution, some things to be careful about when we're making considerations about staff expansion in council offices. But I still feel like it's the way to move forward for today. And I also have a substitute motion by myself, also authored by myself and Councilmember Chugtai, that I believe the clerks have, and I think all of you should have. One of the original sources for these two positions was HR. We've had one of the HR positions. We've had a lot of discussion about how we are trying to work with the executive side, about how we're trying to work with our departments to make sure that that we're not diminishing capacity in one area in order to, fill capacity in another. And so there were 3 vacant positions for media specialist or media relations specialist in the Office of Public Safety. And so I'm opting to I was going to take one of them and then take a HR position. I am eliminating HR as a source and taking 2 of those positions. 3 of them are unfilled. I think that we had a lot of debate about those positions in the past. We did approve them on an 8-5 vote a year ago, and yet 3 of them are still unfilled. And I know that it's meaningful work, but I think getting started with hiring one of those positions, moving the 2 of them to increase capacity at the council leadership level gives us a good win-win to move forward. So that's the motion. Happy to answer any questions that folks might have. And again, hope that folks have the substitute motion in front of them.
Thank you, Councilmember. This item has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions from council members? Not seeing any, so we have the amendment number 45 from Councilmember Ellison and Chugtai before us, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
No.
Vita.
No.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
No.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
No.
Chairs.
Aye.
There are 8 ayes and 4 nays.
That motion carries. And I see we have a priority motion in queue here from Council Vice President Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As discussed and as discussed with Councilmember Ellison about this previous motion, I couldn't support it, but I could also see that it would likely pass. Thus, I've been working with Councilmember Vita and the Commissioner's office, Commissioner Barnett's office, because there's a lot of expectations being put on the Office of Community Safety in this budget, particularly on amendments put forward by us all, this amendment cycle. So we did, Councilmember Vita and I did feel it especially important to try and backfill those positions somehow. And we have worked with the Commissioner's Office, who has also worked with legal and the clerks to come up with an appropriate motion to basically backfill these positions, which, as Councilmember Ellison mentioned, are vacant. But it would be to use the public safety aid money one time to continue those positions in the Office of Community Safety. And then to with the intent of requesting ongoing funding for those positions in 2025. We'd be happy to turn it over to Councilmember Vita if she has anything else to add.
Thank you, Vice President. Councilor Vita, do you have any questions?
You said it all.
All right, I see the city attorney is in queue.
Just for my traditional squeaky wheel, Chair Koski, council members, again, the public safety aid needs to be used for providing public service, so we will work closely with the department to make sure that the funds are used specifically for that purpose.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have a 45B. That item has been moved and seconded. Are there any further questions from colleagues about this item? I'm not seeing anything, so I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Cherkowski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. Next, we are on to item number 46. I will ask Councilmember Wansley to please introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Chair Koski. So recently, council passed an ordinance that reformed our advisory boards and commissions, also known as ABCs. Throughout this year, we've heard from residents citywide that there is a lot of need to support those residents who are volunteering to be part of our ABCs if we really want them to effectively advise council on important priorities and policies. Some of those needs include doing a better job of recruiting for those seats, removing barriers that stall work from being completed, and equitably compensating people for their time. So in conversations with the clerk's office, it became clear to my office that, if we truly want to have a successful, active ABC process at City Hall or at the city enterprise, that will require significant investment and will require us to build out infrastructure to support that work, specifically within the clerk's office. So there'll definitely have to be more conversations going into next year around how we grow and scale up that infrastructure and investment. But this amendment at least represents an initial investment and offers an initial pool of money that our ABCs can tap into as they start submitting ordinances. And again, we see the restructuring now go into implementation phase next year. So that's really what this is about. It's about, fully investing in our ABCs so they can be effective. And we'll stand for any questions unless my co-author, Councilmember Ellison, has anything else to offer.
Thank you, Councilmember Ellison, please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to our lead author here, Councilmember Wansley. I missed the very first, we're dealing with a spill down here, a coffee spill. So I missed the very first beginning of what you said, but I wanted to say that Councilmember Vita offered what I think is a friendly amendment to item 46. I think you all should have it in front of you. And so if that wasn't moved, I would love to also move as amended.
But hold on, I just want to re-clarify here. The one that Councilmember Vita brought forward, yours is for $190,000 for one FTE. Councilmember Vita, I think, is amending an older version of yours. And so I think and I just want to clarify here, what Councilmember Vita, I believe, wants to do is with the health department, wants to move it from the 8600140 to the 8600130. We can do, if you're willing, in a friendly amendment to yours, I think that that would probably be the best solution here. So,
I believe that's the intent.
okay, so clerks, are you following here at all? Okay. All right, so I'm going to remove the substitute motion of Councilmember Vita. We're going to keep the original Wansley and Ellison, number 46. Are we here? Are we together? Are we?
Yes.
We're almost here. Okay, we have a friendly amendment from Councilmember Vita. And if you are looking at Wansley and Ellison's, the one for the 190,000 for one FTE in the health department, we want to, instead of 8600140, to move it to 8600130. I can't believe I can do that right now. At this. Okay, so is everybody clear here? Oh,
It's just a different pool of money in health. It's not coming from somewhere else.
correct, yes. Okay, all right, so we now have this motion by Councilmember Wansley and Ellison. It has been moved and seconded. I'm not seeing any further questions from colleagues, so I'll ask the clerk. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Council Vice President Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to note that I appreciate how this motion has been improved over time, particularly to specifically designate that it's going to be an FTE that is going to be the ongoing support for our appointed boards and commissions. We've done a lot of work, and nobody's done more work on appointed boards and commissions evolution than our clerk, Casey Carl. So thank you to him. Thank you to all of the work that has been done by his staff and in socializing this and getting us through an important transformation as to how we consider appointed boards and commissions. I hope that next term we are able to go further in it. So this will help. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We now have this amendment number 46 in front of us, and I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chairkoski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. Our next amendment is number 47. This is from me. This proposal will move the remainder of the $19 million of public safety aid from the state of Minnesota to a public safety aid reserve within the Finance and Property Services, to be used for future public safety uses, to be determined. And I believe, Ken has new copies here in front of us. And so that total amount would be $5,479,237. The city's chief financial officer will hold these funds until such time that the city council authorizes their transfer through council action. This proposal holds these funds so that in the future, the mayor and the city council can work together to create and consider proposals for their use. This could include, but is not limited to, police officer bonuses and retention incentives, other first responder bonuses and incentives, recommendations that will come from our Safe and Thriving Communities report and work, along with other options like victim services, training programs, first responder wellness, equipment related to fire, rescue, and emergency services, more community engagement, and gun violence prevention programs. And those are just to name a few. I ask my colleagues to vote to support this proposal. And I will need a second for this. And this has been moved and seconded, and I see we have Councilmember Wansley in queue.
Thank you, Chairkoski. I just want to offer if you would be willing to take me on as a co-author. I think this is a really good financial, or at least like oversight move of making sure, there will be council oversight in how we spend the remainder of these dollars, especially towards advancing, our work around comprehensive public safety. So just want to acknowledge your leadership and our staff for working on this. And yes, if you would be amenable to that, we'd love to support as a co-author.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'll ask the clerk to add you as a co-author on that. I'm not seeing any further questions, and so we have the amendment number 47 in front of us, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
And we have added Councilmember Wansley as an author, correct?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Chair Koski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. Okay, we have 2 left, so here we go. Number 48, I'm just going to stick with the order that we had, but we do have an added one that's going to be coming here as 49. But item number 48 is also my amendment. This is the financial policies amendment. This does 4 things. Number 1, it codifies that administrative adjustments and transfers may come through the budget process. Number 2, it codifies that the current service level budget will account for the salaries and benefits of all FTEs approved through the budget process. Number 3, it codifies that if a department administratively adds FTEs outside the budget process and are granted approval by the CFO will notify the relevant council committee. Number 4, it codifies that if a department administratively adds FTEs outside the budget process, their budget will be temporarily adjusted to reflect this change, and the department may request a permanent adjustment through a budget proposal in the subsequent budget process. The mayor, commissioners, and our department directors will retain their current authority regarding administrative adjustments, transfers, and administrative FTE additions. However, the way in which administrative adjustments, transfers, and administrative FTE additions are reflected in our budget book and our budget portal will change, and the change will be increasing transparency. I ask my colleagues to vote in support of this amendment. I do need a second for this.
Second.
I have a second, and this has been moved and seconded. I see we have Councilmember Goodman in queue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did have the opportunity to talk to Councilmember Koski about this last night, so I'm just curious. I have not seen a legal opinion on whether or not we have the authority to support something like this. I'm having a hard time understanding the blurring line between departments being able to adjust their FTEs or task their FTEs to other departments or move people around in order to achieve the goals. That seems like an administrative decision, but I do support the idea of additional transparency in the process. So I'm interested in the city attorney's legal opinion on whether or not this is actually something that meets the charter requirement of the separation of powers or not.
Thank you, Councilor Goodman. I do want to clarify that, under our current budget process, a department can administratively add FTEs outside the budget process. They receive approval from the CFO and include those new FTEs in their current service level budget. This is what I might call a little bit of a loophole in the budget process, and so which FTEs can be added. And so this just helps us get more awareness and informed approval through that process. And I see our city attorney is in queue.
Thank you, Chair Koski, Councilmember Goodman. There's sort of 2 different parts of this, one of which I don't have a problem with and one of which causes me concern. So the transparency aspect, the aspect of reporting to the committee about what FTEs have been added during a budget cycle is completely legitimate, as long as it's a received and filed and everybody knows it's not a vote on approval or disapproval. Where the separation of powers problem happens, every department has inherent authority to manage their division within their appropriated operating budgets. And so that may mean that if we have salary savings or non-personnel funds, we can actually create new FTEs. We don't need council approval to do that. We have inherent authority to do that. The concern I have about this budget amendment is that it seems to be saying that in order to make those additional FTEs permanent, it ultimately has to come to the council as a budget proposal. That would only need to happen if, in adding that FTE, you're going to run out of money and won't have enough money in your operating budget for the next year. Then you would have to come to council for an additional appropriation. But to come to council with a budget proposal for an FTE that was created fully within the operating base budget isn't necessary and would violate separation of powers. So that's the concern that I have.
Thank you. I see Councilor Chugtai is in queue.
Wait, can I?
Apologies, Councilor Goodman.
So I understand what the chair is trying to get at. And I respect that, actually, and we discussed it. What happens, we pass this, it's just advisory to the administration. Then the administration's gonna do whatever they want anyway. And then we're gonna sue each other? I mean, how is this gonna play out? I'm just completely confused about how we would enforce anything like that. And then I'm just gonna put on my bit of like, one of the bits of unfinished business in this organization that's been the case, and you've heard me say this for like 25 years, is that we don't do zero-based budgeting. So everything we're doing is good, and everything that gets put into someone's budget that's changed is good, and then everyone's only asking for what's new. And that is an intense frustration, right? That everything we're doing is new, everything we're doing is great, and there's never any explanation how we get to so many people in certain departments, and then more are added. So I'm akin to Councilmember Koski as it pertains to like trying to figure out what's actually going on. And I would just hope that we would think about the fact that we thought biennial budgeting was working to solve that problem, but it's just causing us to go through the whole dramatic process twice and not solve the problem of starting from the beginning. And hopefully this next council can spend some time focusing on that.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman. Councilor Chuktai.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm gonna actually just say I think I see other members in queue. I think other members should go through and make their points, ask their questions, whatever. I think it may make sense for us to table this until Tuesday and come back and pick this back up. It's been a long day, and I want us to ultimately make the right decision and figure out if there's a way for us to work together to get to where we are trying to go. I would argue, Madam City Attorney, based on what you were saying, right? Like inherently, that it's your interpretation that inherently the administration has the authority to create FTEs, you know, and the way you're getting to that interpretation is because the administration has the authority to manage their positions within, to manage staff, right? That's the part of the charter that you're interpreting as inherently you have the authority to create new positions. What I would say is the way administrative adjustments and transfers happen right now, I believe, undermines the council's authority to hold the power of the purse, because there are times it has happened over and over. For example, just last year or earlier this year, there was a whole thing over the crime prevention specialists that got taken out as crime prevention specialists. And ultimately what happened is like all of our communities suffered because crime prevention specialists and particularly marginalized communities suffered because crime prevention specialists got taken away and turned into, I believe, the media relations positions. That was one of the uses of that money. So PR positions for the Office of Community Safety. And that happened without us ever knowing about it, ever being able to intervene, never being able to do anything about it. And that's not what our authority is here. And inherently, actually, our authority in holding the budget is that we create the administration. That's our charter authority. We create the administration. We fund every position that exists. We fund every program dollar that exists. That's our power. And so when the base level, the current service level isn't entirely clear, it's not entirely clear what exactly a position is doing or what its title is, what its purpose is, our authority to create the administration and fund this enterprise is undermined. It continues to be. That's why you hear us talking about this loophole. I would argue, actually, I appreciate the work that Councilmember Koski has done to work with you on writing this amendment and making sure that it met your standard or your interpretation of separation of powers. I would say it doesn't go far enough. I think it is appropriate for us to say if you are going to if you're going to create a new position, you're going to fund it, you're going to hire a person for it, which all of that costs money. money that we give. And you're not even gonna, like, you should have to come to us to justify what you're doing, because that is a long-term investment we are making in a position. You should have to come to us. You should have to justify why you want that position and what the consequence of creating that position is gonna be in the long term, and what it's gonna do to our 5-year financial direction. I think that's appropriate. That's our job. We fund the administration. We fund the enterprise. The charter tells us that we create the administration. That's all.
Thank you, Councilmember. Council Vice President Palmisano?
City Attorney was in.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. I saw in and out there. City Attorney.
So thank you, Chair Koski. There's so much to respond to, and I don't want to get into a big debate on the dais. What I would say a few things. One, it doesn't violate the power of the purse. You appropriate operating budgets. These changes are made within operating budgets. Number one. Number two, the charter is very, very clear, and our charter is actually quite specific and, frankly, even different from the Minnesota State Constitution, and specifically says that the council may not usurp, invade, or interfere with the mayor's direction or supervision of the administration. So what you're talking about in terms of the administration should have to come to the council and basically get approval to create new positions or hire people, et cetera, would be in direct contravention to that. Number three, I just do want to point out that the financial policies that existed back in 2019, so this is pre-charter change, pre-government structure, allowed for this change in the FTE count, and it was simply addressed by changing the FTE count in the next budget. So any discretionary base budget amounts were just transferred to the FTEs. So, I mean, the process that I'm outlining is not a process that's any different than existed even back when the council had more authority. But I am happy to, perhaps provide a memo to the body before we reconvene.
I don't want to. I don't like the back. I don't want to get into a back and forth because I don't. But
All right, Council. Thank you, City Attorney. Council Vice President Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's only one legal expert on this dais. There's only one legal expert here on this dais. I appreciate the goal here of transparency. I'm very wary of adding more bureaucracy here to a lot of lower level positions that get moved around and changed every day to make our city function and deliver basic city services well. Councilmember Chugtai has a good idea, I think, in that we hold this over, as it's been a long day, and we find something that we can all live with. I would be very inclined to see what suggestions our city attorney has, not right up here right now, like further edits to this motion or this policy that would make sure that both us and future councils aren't bumping into sketchy legal ether every time we're trying to do something, but that we can both fully function, because the best partner and pairing to a strong mayor system is a strong council. So I would ask if we hold this, work with our city attorney on something that we know is completely and legitimately not in violation of our charter, and come back with something that is not controversial next time.
Thank you, Council Vice President. We have a couple more people in queue. I'll let them speak, and then we'll talk about the next steps here. Councilmember Payne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Councilmember Goodman referencing zero-based budgeting made me think about this great new capability that we have around oversight and evaluation, where we get to actually do deeper investigations in the effectiveness of our investments. And I think that will also give us the capacity to midstream recognize when dollars are going unused or being used in a way that's not in alignment with the budget that we passed, where we can midstream perhaps make some adjustments. So I also am okay with delaying this until Tuesday, hopefully to strengthen it, frankly.
Thank you, Councilmember Chavez.
I just think we can pass this today, and amendments can be made over the weekend and on Tuesday. But if you all want to delay that, we can do that.
All right, well, here, I do have a suggestion here. I mean, I do want to repeat something here. This is not changing the authority of our administration, but it creates transparency, and it's making sure that, the mayor, the cabinet, our department directors, they can still add these FTEs, but they can't force the city council without notification, without informed consent to permanently budget for these FTEs as part of the current service level. I have heard individuals wanting to table this. I know we do have a budget meeting actually on Tuesday, December 5th at 1 o'clock. And so I am going to defer to move that there because it will give us some time to consult with our city attorney as well as our audit department and our oversight and evaluation division and our financial consultant. And I believe that will give us that time. So I'd like to move this item to the December 5th, 1 p.m. Budget Committee meeting. All right. Do I need to vote on that? Okay, I'm like, all right. So, and we are to our last amendment here. We have number 49, and I will let Councilmember Chugtai please speak to your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the amendment before you today, which was brought over by the clerks earlier, and is amending the budget to decrease the general fund balance by $225,000 one time and increasing the budget for the Public Works Department Transportation Maintenance and Repair Permanent Snow Storage Site by that same $225,000. We heard, I think Councilmember Goodman earlier made a very compelling point about how important it was to figure out this snow storage facility. And then, just last week when Councilmember Koski and I were meeting with Public Works, I heard a case for the snow storage site that was a little bit different than the one I had heard before, and it was a lot more compelling than the one I had heard before. So, we get it. We get what you're trying to do. And in the interest of making sure that everyone who had taken from that snow storage site didn't have to either pull their amendment, suddenly go and find a new source, or, pull from general fund balance themselves, we've let everyone keep their amendments as is. That's why we passed them the way that we did. Councilmember Ellison pulled his amendment for the Ownership and Opportunity Fund. And so of the $1 million that was originally in the mayor's recommended budget, about 725,000 is accounted for in different budget amendments from that snow storage site. So Councilmember Chavez took $150,000 for his amendment for the 38th Street Cultural District. Councilmember Payne took $225,000 for co-enforcement, and Councilmember Ellison took $350,000 for DTAP. Combined, that gets us to $725,000. So that fund right now has $275 million left in it, and
not million.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, $275,000 left in it, not million. Whew. And we are adding in an additional. We're giving Public Works an additional $225,000, which gets you up to $500,000 for the snow storage site. I know that is sufficient for you to move forward with what you need to over this next year, based on extensive conversations with all of you. So everybody gets what they need, and we get to live and get through this.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember Chugtai. This item has been moved and seconded. I see we have a few others in queue. We have Councilmember Ellison.
I'm going to keep it short. I just wanted to thank folks for being flexible here. I know that we've done some due diligence here and about we're sourcing this from and what this gets us. And so just wanted to thank all of my colleagues. And while I was a little sad to not be able to add any additional money to the Ownership and Opportunity Fund, or OOF, which I will from here forward just be referring to as OOF money. And so while I was, it was a little bit sad to not be able to add to that pot, I am glad that all my colleagues moved away from using it as a source so that we can have a dedicated source for this next year, hopefully grow that over time. I do think it's an important, very critically important tool in our city for our business corridors, for our small business owners to build wealth in ways that are expanded beyond simply just home ownership. I think it's and again, it's not just the promise of this tool; it is that it has worked. It has really been a tool that has worked over time. So, just wanted to thank everyone for being amenable to not using it as a source, and then thank you to my colleagues who helped us get to the point where we can make sure that we have a permanent snow storage site, or well on our way to having one. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Wansley.
Thank you, Chair Koski. Also, thank you, Councilmember Chuck Ty, for trying to help us figure out how to get to a good ground on this. I was worried about the sourcing away from the snow storage, having, we just passed the pilots for snow or sidewalk snow removal. So with that, I would love to be added as a co-author of yay, hashtag save snow storage. That's really not a real hashtag, don't do that. But thank you so much, co-author, that's all.
That's a friendly amendment.
All right, Councilmember Osman.
Yeah, just want to say this was success. I think we have passed many good amendments for our community. Council members that are here, thank you and congratulations, the work you have done. And we found good use for that $19 million that we have debated a long time. Yeah, so thank you everyone, and thanks for the staff and leaders for being patient and sitting there for hours and hours, and thanks for your answers and really enlighten us what your departments do. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I just want to, expectations here. We do have a few more things to get through, everybody, so. Well, you'll see here. Hold tight. Councilmember Payne, so if you want to speak to item number 49.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say thank you to Councilmember Ellison and everybody else who compromised here. Obviously, this means a lot to me that we passed co-enforcement, and it was through this compromise that we were able to pass co-enforcement. This is the second time I brought this forward since being elected. I've been trying to get it passed since being elected, and it just really means a lot that we were able to compromise, collaborate, and get to a good place. This is a really, really productive budget amendment session, so thank you. And thank you to your leadership, Chair Koski. Good job.
Thank you. Okay, let's see here. With that, we have this amendment number 49 in front of us, offered by Councilor Chugtai, Ellison, and I have Goodman on here. Yes. And I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Cherkowski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That motion carries. So with that, we have completed the packet. I will open the floor to ask if there are any further amendments. Any curveballs? Vita is going. All right, I'm not seeing any. So at this point, I will move approval of the 2024 budget as listed on the agenda and as amended by this body today. This motion formally forwards the 2024 budget packet to the December 5th City Council meeting scheduled to meet at 6:05 p.m. As you'll see, the budget packet includes 7 separate resolutions which approve the 2024 city budget and tax levy, the fiscal year 2024 consolidated plan, and the proposed water and sewer rates. If there's no objection, I'll move approval of the entire package. Would any of my colleagues like to pull any of the resolutions out for separate votes? I see Councilmember Rainville.
Yes. Madam Chair, before we vote, I just want to recognize some of the residents here who have sat through these meetings to learn how we do this, and I thank you for your patience and for your interest in trying to understand how this budget process is. So thank you for being here today and yesterday.
Thank you. All right, is there any further discussion on the budget package? I am not seeing anything, so I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Payne.
Aye.
Wansley.
Aye.
Rainville.
Aye.
Vita.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
Osman.
Aye.
Goodman.
Aye.
Chavez.
Aye.
Chugtai.
Aye.
Chowdhury.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
And Cherkowski.
Aye.
There are 12 ayes.
That carries, and the 2024 budget package is referred to the adjourned meeting of the City Council scheduled for this coming Tuesday, December 5th at 6:05. I just want to take a moment to, this is where I get a little emotional. I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the budget team. Jane has come into this and has guided us through this process and has been the interim and then came in as the budget director. So I'm just so grateful for her and her team. I want to thank my staff. I want to thank all of my colleagues here. I think that today shows, and I just want to point out a few facts here. The mayor recommended a budget, and we agreed on roughly 99% of it. And today we moved around, and yesterday around, I'm going to say about $30 million of that funding. So I want to repeat of what we agree on and what we collaborate and what we connect on is 99%. Today we worked on, like I said, roughly moving around $30 million. And for almost every single one of these motions, we had almost unanimous support from colleagues. And I just thank each and every one of you because that takes a tremendous amount of work and collaboration from each and every one of us. I saw and I heard the passion from each and every one of you on the things that were important to you, and you spoke from your hearts. You listened to your community members, and we brought those things forward. And I'm just really grateful to have been able to support all of us in these efforts. And so with that, and seeing no further business before us, and without objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned.